Dun, dun.
This is the possibly last ever recording of the Flags and Whistles podcast, at least in this capacity.
Yeah, in this capacity. I'm graduating, thankfully, from Keene State, and Carson will be taking over, rebranding the podcast to some extent, which will be awesome. But I am out of here, so I'm also out of the podcast realm for the time being.
For the time being. Maybe if I, depending on like where I change this podcast to going, maybe you'll be a Zoom guest. Because now we have the new, it's actually right next door to us right here, the new podcast Zoom room.
I could be zoomed
here
in.
At Keene State. I actually really want to check it out, but I probably won't be able to until like next year, unless I just maybe made a couple calls, but
Yeah.
I wouldn't use it. So
Yeah.
But so maybe one day I'll zoom in from that room right there, and we will
Reunite
reunite.
in the podcast realm.
So,
We haven't even said that this is the Flags and Whistles podcast. Like, we haven't even done our normal intro.
I guess that's true. Oh no!
Oh, no. All right, hit the music again.
All right, let's do it. We'll put that in, too.
Welcome to the last ever Flags and Whistles podcast. I'm Elias and joined by my co-host
Carson Flake.
and future actual host, Carson Flake.
Yo, I think we keep that first little take though in.
Yeah, no, I like it.
I'm gonna keep that. in,
Yeah.
Just to make it a little bit fun. Yeah. So we already mentioned all the stuff that's going to be changing. Elias graduates in how many days? 10, 11, 12, 13?
Ooh, it's April 27th right now. I graduate on May 9th, so 12. I can't do how many days are in April?
I know May 6th is 9 days away. That's all I know. 'Cause
Okay,
that's
all
the
right,
day
all
I'm
right.
leaving.
Then 12 days from now, I will be a college graduate.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9,
Nice.
10, 11, 12 days. It's crazy, bro.
It is.
You'll be graduating. I'll be back home refereeing a semi-pro UPSL game. I'm looking on my calendar here.
A jack of all trades.
Master of none.
There you go.
We'll be long gone. But I think from what we talked last night, a couple of my boys are staying here to see the graduation.
Yep.
I'm disappointed to not be here for the graduation, but at the same time, I don't think anyone blames me for getting the heck out of here.
No. I am intent on getting the heck out of here, and I can't blame anyone that's doing it even earlier.
Yeah. Maybe this is a little bit more. We have a topic for today, but maybe this is a little bit more of just a chatted up day,
Could be.
a final hurrah moment.
Yeah.
Maybe if I'm required to do so by my professor, I'll make like a best moments of the Flags and Whistles podcast.
The highlight reel, if you will.
A highlight reel, if you will. But today, what we want to talk about, sometimes we talk NFL, sometimes we talk European soccer. Today, kind of a combination of the two in terms of soccer, but in the United States. We don't ever talk U.S. soccer.
Wait, ready for a pun? We're going to talk about the state of it. All right, cool.
Oh.
Ooh.
Hold up. There's got to be.
Can I
like
hit
a
my little
like-
butt-ups? Surely.
Nope,
Ah,
that's not
fuck.
it. I mean, that could work. I
Yeah,
guess,
whatever,
but no,
whatever.
we don't need to overdo it. Maybe I'll add a put them in there. I don't know how we're going to do that, but it doesn't matter. So the one thing that kind of got me thinking about this is the U.S. Open Cup is going on right now. They're about to enter the round of 16. I'm actually going to the game on Wednesday, New England Revolution facing off against the Orlando City SC. But this is what got me thinking. The game is not being played at Gillette Stadium.
That's not?
No. The game is being played in, hold on, because I should know this. I didn't prepare this. I apologize. The game is being played in Rhode Island at the, I can't even think, what's the name? Do you know?
Oh.
I got it. I'll get it here in a
Them.
second. I'll get it here in a second, though. Hold on.
Rhode Island FC.
Yeah, but what's their stadium name?
Ooh. Couldn't tell you. Hold on.
Pause.
Pause.
Oh, the Centreville Bank Stadium in Providence.
Not as cool as Gillette, but oh well.
Well, yes and no, because I think there's something to be said for these teams playing in these NFL stadiums and not selling them out, which is exactly why I got thinking about this.
Mm-hmm.
So my whole thought process is all right, there has been big growth in the MLS and big growth overall in the soccer landscape in the United States.
Yeah.
There has been. But when you look at teams like New England Revolution, like Sporting Kansas City, like some of those, I'm thinking bottom half of the table teams, they either A, play in a big stadium and send like 4,000 fans in it, or they play in a small stadium and still don't sell it out. For example, Sporting KC plays in an 18,000 seat stadium. They've yet to sell it out this year. Yeah. Whereas when you look back in like 2018, 17, 16, they were on like a 300 game sellout streak.
That's when they had the boy Johnny Russell. That's when they had a better squad.
You know Johnny Russell.
Of course I know Johnny Russell.
Oh my gosh, I didn't even know you had that ball. I see him at the gym all the time.
Actually?
Have I ever told you that?
No.
No, I do. Seriously, I see him all the time at Lifetime Fitness in Overland Park, Kansas.
That's crazy. He was what a player he was in the championship, and then in the MLS he was a star too.
He was, and miss that guy, Matt Beasler as well, a big name. He went to my high school. Still like very much involved in our high school, which is pretty cool. He still lives in Kansas City. A lot of those guys with Sporting KC actually, like even if they go play their last year, for example, Russell went to Real Salt Lake last season and then he's not officially retired, but he's done playing
without a club.
Yeah,
yeah.
They all still live in Kansas City. So
That's
like
cool.
same with Matt Beasler. He played in Austin for his final year, retired, and then now he's back with Kansas City. Still a Sporting KC fan through and through.
There you go.
But it's interesting that they stay around. That's just a Kansas City thing. I think they just like it. But there's an interesting thing going on where the USL Championship, if you didn't know, is basically obviously trying their best to compete with the MLS.
Yep.
The USL as a whole, the United Soccer League. They have currently 3 divisions, 2 of those being official pro divisions. They have the USL Championship, USL League 1, and then the USL League 2. The League 2 is technically a semi-professional division. The other 2 are professional. And then the MLS, on the other hand, has 2 technical divisions, MLS and then the MLS Next Pro. And then they also have their academy systems, but that's a different conversation. The MLS Next Pro, just to clarify for anyone that doesn't know, is a like academy, or not an academy. It's a second team. So like Sporting Kansas City 2, New England Revolution 2 are all playing in that. So it's basically their reserve teams. It's like the NBA G League, except all the teams have the same names and then just a 2 after them.
Yeah. Essentially, I would say it's the pathway to MLS. Like mostly players that play for that team are either young prospects that they've got from across the world or the guys that they end up drafting in the super draft.
Which is also a conversation.
Also a conversation, yeah. But, yeah.
So basically, those are kind of the landscapes of the 2 things. But what USL is doing is in 2028, they're supposed to add a new league, I guess you could say, division, conference, whatever. I don't know what the official term would be.
It's a competing league.
It is a competing league in theory.
Yeah.
Called the USL Premier.
Yeah. That would directly be on the same echelon as the MLS, but a completely different organization.
And then what they want to do is bring in promotion and relegation.
Which is what United States soccer has been missing for
such
a long time. If you ask not anyone, but a lot of conversations I've had with people from abroad about the MLS is that it's a joke because there's no, I guess, fear of losing money, losing sponsorship, losing big players because you can't get relegated.
Yeah. Well,
so it's at a standstill, and it's been in a standstill for a while.
Now, I do want to add this interesting piece that you might not know. So the USL women have the USL Super League, which is supposedly a direct competitor with the NWSL. It's been it's been running for now 2 years. This is its 2nd year. I'll be interested. I think that's a good preview on what to see, like kind of where this USL Premier thing could go, just in terms of like if the women can get up to a point where it's competing with the NWSL, maybe the men's side can do the same. Granted, I don't think that in general there's enough, but maybe there is. We're not looking at that today.
Yeah.
I just thought I should throw that out there that they've already tried this on the women's side and they're currently working on growing that as much as they can. But the problem is, the biggest problem with all of this is that the MLS has absolutely zero desire to ever go into any other sort of deal, bargaining agreement with another league. They want it to be them, and they want it to be exactly how they are, which shows you what happened in 2022 when we saw a lot of USL teams beating MLS teams. The following year, the MLS pulled out 100% of their teams, and U.S. Soccer, who's the governing body of the U.S. Open Cup, basically told them, no, you can't do that. So they made an agreement that they would keep like 8 teams in there. Mm-hmm. Well, since that happened, you would think that the MLS would put their top 8 teams in there. It's the opposite. They could care less about it because they're trying to promote the League's Cup, which is a joke in my opinion. It's the MLS versus Liga MX.
Yeah.
Which is really fun to go to. I'll tell you that much. I've gotten into it with some Chivas fans in Kansas City. Oh my gosh. But at the same time, it's kind of silly.
Yeah. It's also, I will note, I mean, yes, it's just Liga MX and the MLS, but the CONCACAF Champions League is another competition that both of those leagues compete in, as well as other teams in CONCACAF. So it's kind of a very repetitive tournament.
Yeah.
And, I mean, to agree with your point, to have 8 MLS teams compete in the U.S. Open Cup just seems kind of silly, especially if you're going to put essentially your worst product out on the field, your worst teams out on the field.
Yeah. So this year so far in 2026, there's been a couple different upsets, or they call them cup sets. I'm not sure if you've heard that term.
I have.
It's a little bit silly, but whatever. There's been a couple cup sets this year. I'm pulling my notes up here. In 2026 so far, we've seen a USL League One team beat DC United. We've seen a USL Championship team beat Austin FC. We've seen a USL Championship beat New York Red Bulls. A USL Championship team beat San Jose Earthquakes. And then a USL Championship beat Kansas City, which is concerning considering that the MLS claims to be these top flight teams. Mm-hmm. Well, maybe if you put Inter Miami in the conversation, then this all wouldn't happen, which they were in the conversation, by the way. 2 years ago, they won.
Yep.
Now they're not because MLS doesn't want it. And go to the point that you were making earlier before we started the podcast about ownership.
Yeah, so I don't know if you guys know this, but the MLS essentially, as a corporation, owns every single franchise that plays in the league. And then owners, I guess I'll put that in parentheses, invest in a team. But they don't actually own the rights to the players, the rights to the stadium, the name itself. So pretty much it's another point where the league is just completely stagnant. It's owned by one corporation that controls all. How many teams are there?
More and more every year. I believe it's 30.
Well, but yeah, while Carson's looking up those numbers, it just makes
30. Got it. Bang.
Boom. It just makes the league incredibly redundant, and it also affects, as you can see with like big players, for example, Messi, that come from Europe. There's certain markets that attract those kinds of players, and for the most part, all of the smaller teams, I guess worse markets, for example, Kansas City, they can't attract both financially and just location-wise the big players. So you have a huge drop-off. As you can see, they're getting beat by semi-pro teams technically, USL 1.
Still pro, but yes.
Still pro, but
third division.
Right. But
arguably fourth, too.
Yeah. But yeah, you can't really compete when one team, for example, last year has Jordi Alba, Rodrigo de Paul, Messi, Busquets, yada, 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 Allende, and then another team like the New England Revolution don't have a real star from Europe who's come back and like made any kind of impact.
When you're playing with your homegrown talent, there is something to be said for trusting your homegrown talent.
Oh, absolutely.
But there's also something to be said. If you want to be a top league in the world, you aren't seeing Liverpool have more than 1, 2 homegrowns on their starting 11.
Mm-hmm.
They might have them on the bench, but maybe you get your, Lamine Yamal making it all the way because he's just a star player, and Barcelona gets lucky that they had Lamine Yamal in their system and not Atleti's system, for example. But when it really comes down to it, it's how are you getting your players, which goes into the super draft thing, which I think is a complete joke as well. In a sense, I know two guys that got drafted actually out of the super draft, and they're both killing it. They're both actually at St. Louis City, and they're both currently playing on the second team right now. But my friend Colin Welsh, he's a goalkeeper as well, and he finally got a loan to the first team to be a backup for like one game. Mm-hmm. Well, good for him, but at the same time, the super draft barely ever produces like high class talent.
Yeah.
90% of the time, the players come from Europe or from somewhere that's not the United States, which is a shame for US. And I think that down the road, I have this theory, this is not backed up by statistics, but I have this theory that US soccer youth right now is significantly better than it was 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Which means that 10 years from now, those guys will be in the pros, and it will make overall the product better.
Yeah.
From an American standpoint.
U.S. soccer from a grassroots level in terms of kids has the highest participation in the world, despite the United States national team and league not being ranked as high, which I think is a clear sign that the development process from these MLS teams is problematic. You see more of the high-end talent in the United States. For example, Kevin Sullivan.
Yeah.
Boom. He's been playing in the Philadelphia Union's academy teams. He already got his move to Manchester City, and that's just waiting for him to turn, I think, 18 until that is processed.
Literally.
But those big teams are buying talent before they even get the chance to go through MLS. So what you lose is revenue. MLS teams lose a significant amount of revenue. Kevin Sullivan, I know that the transfer fee was in the millions, but imagine if he had first team football in his under his belt. You know what I mean? Big players are leaving before they ever establish themselves in the MLS, and because of that, the MLS has to continue to buy talent from overseas, and they continue to not develop homegrown talent, and U.S. soccer, as a result, struggles.
Your best homegrowns are not staying in the MLS,
no.
And that's the biggest issue, and it comes down to money. Now, another thing it comes down to is salary cap. Which are you familiar with the salary cap system?
I am, and it's foolish. It's foolish because the MLS is based upon all of the other leagues in the United States for NBA, NFL, yada yada yada.
Well, also with playoffs, for example. Yes,
and it makes sense for those sports because that's how those sports are run. Soccer is not like that. I think pretty much anywhere else in the world, it's not like that. It's not a playoff system.
Mexico, I think it would be, but that's about it.
Yeah.
And probably Canada. Anything North America maybe is similar, but outside of North America, it's all about the same.
Yeah, and we all know that the best soccer is not played in North America.
No.
The CONCACAF is not exactly strong.
No. Well, so it gets into, I'm going to break it down as fast as I can here, where it gets weird with this money. Because you might be wondering, how is Inter Miami signing 3 guys that are internationally known as, a top 50 players in the world.
Stars.
Stars. How are you able to sign that if there's a salary cap? And it gets down to this weird thing where it comes to this thing called DP slots, designated player slots. It kind of gets confusing. If I signed you as a DP, I could pay you $1 billion and it wouldn't affect my salary cap.
Mm-hmm.
Each team gets a certain amount of those DP slots, and you can also negotiate that. So there's a weird thing, and it's confusing. It's a lot of numbers, but you can negotiate to have 3 DP slots and 2 homegrown slots. You can go more DP, less homegrown. Anything that is, it doesn't affect your salary cap. So you can pay Messi the big money and it not even affect your salary cap. Then all you have to do is negotiate enough with all of your other players. Well, they're of course going to stay because you have a really, really good team, and you're going to make more money in the end because you're going to win the championship.
Yeah.
So the salary cap at this point is irrelevant considering this DP situation.
Yeah.
Which then leads you to this problem where, and this is my whole thesis here, the top half of the MLS is very competitive with each other and, in my opinion, with other clubs around the world. I think if you take the top 5 teams in the MLS and you put them up against maybe not Premier League, but like or championship teams in England, I think that you get good results / like close games.
Yeah.
The bottom half clearly is not good enough considering their performance in the U.S. Open Cup. It's a clear example. Now, I have 2 more points that I want to make about the downfall of the MLS here. One of those is, this is what I call the discovery gap. New fans and money. Obviously, if you have fans, you make money. If you have no fans, you make no money. Well, MLS, they switched to the Apple TV, which I think there's something to be said for that being good, but I think it's terrible. I hate it. I don't know. You don't care too much about the MLS, but
I don't care too much, but I understand the impact of TV revenue on the importance and quality of a league. Like when the Premier League first got their big sponsorship money, I don't know, 20 years ago, instantly the quality of the league jumped up. Like before that, maybe La Liga, Serie A for a time was the best league in the world. And then as soon as all those big companies started broadcasting Premier League, all those clubs became, they were already great, but now it's undebatable in my opinion that the Prem is the best league.
Now, the problem with the MLS is that they already do not have enough fans that are willing, in my opinion, to pay the money as a casual supporter. If you're just like a casual Chiefs fan, well, great, because you can watch. If you live in Kansas City, you can watch every single Chiefs game on your local TV station.
Yep.
You might not be able to watch every single NFL game, but you can pay to do that. You sure can.
Yep.
You can pay the Sunday ticket package all day long and watch every single game. That's where the paywall makes sense, in a sense. I still think it's abysmal that this streaming service thing exists, but it is how it is. MLS, on the other hand, gatekeeps 100% of their games, no matter who you are, where you live, which they marketed as no blackouts. Well, no blackouts, except you're blacked out of every single game unless you pay your $12.99 a month.
Yeah.
So I looked into this statistic here, Elias. I wanted to see a direct comparison on national average for total TV viewership between the USL Championship, who broadcasts on CBS, CBS Sports, ESPN, ESPN2, ESPN Plus, and local TV, versus MLS, who broadcasts now solely on Apple TV. They updated a little bit. You used to have to pay for the MLS season pass. Now you can have Apple TV Plus, so you can watch your shows, and MLS comes with it. That's a step in the right direction. So the low number of their average is about the same. USL Championship, because you could be flipping around right now and find a USL Championship game on the weekend.
Yeah.
On ESPN2. They have a weekly game of the week live on national TV. So the average lowest number is 120,000 per year.
Yep.
But here's where the big difference is. MLS, the range is 120 to 180,000. The range for USL Championship is 150 to 300,000. Why is that happening? Because you can casually watch your team, and because if you're a Louisville City fan, who's probably the best and the largest franchise in the USL Championship, you can watch 100% of their games as long as you're in their market.
Yep.
I don't understand why that happens. But then it gets into this whole thing of attendance percentages. And that's where I got the most information. You have to take out any game that involves Inter Miami.
Sells out for Messi.
I went to the game when they played in Kansas City 2 years ago. Almost exactly 2 years ago, by the way. I skipped my senior prom to go to the Messi game.
That is a great choice.
Of course. It was
Fantastic.
at Arrowhead Stadium.
Yeah.
And there's 70,000 people in attendance.
Yep.
So when you look at a total percentage of a stadium being filled or total numbers, it's not fair because anytime Inter Miami travels, Gillette Stadium did the same thing out here. So it's in a decline for the bottom half of the league and an incline for the top half of the league.
So, yeah, in the fan motivation, the comparison between the MLS, the bottom half of the MLS, and the USL Championship is when people are going to see a game, 38% are going to see the stars, the Messis, the Heung-min Sons, the Hani Mukhtars, whatever. 42% of fans are going as a family outing, date night, bring the kids, whatever. But 19%, which is very low compared to, I'll read the statistic after for the USL, are going because of a local community identity, a real like fan experience. Like a passion. Then, and this is where I think, and I'm not convinced about the USL's model, but this piece is very attractive to me, is that 62% of USL Championship fans are going for that local community identity. I think that the USL has done a much better job of making their games, their identities rooted in the communities that they are in. I mean, at the lowest level, at like USL 2, I mean, the only experience I have of going to those games is Vermont Green. But Vermont Green very quickly integrated themselves into Burlington. They have a whole community initiative, and Virtue Field is packed it's sold out now, weeks in advance. Much smaller stadium, of course. But people want to be real fans of these teams, whereas the MLS, it's more like we're going to go for a little date night thing, but we're not actually like ultras of the team. We don't actually support the team. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and then what I kind of looked at too was the percentage of teams that are the ultras versus the just casual fans. And I don't think that there is a casual fan. I'm kind of describing it as somebody that doesn't mark the game, every single game on their calendar, And here's what I found, is that the supporter sections in MLS, like Portland, LAFC, St. Louis, have massive attendance. And those LAFC is one of the coolest stadiums. I can't even think of, they change their name every freaking year, but
BMO?
It's BMO. Is it BMO still? I don't know. That's my whole point. Is they get a very good number of supporters, and they create a very good atmosphere. St. Louis as well did that, but I have a theory that that's going to fall off because they're still brand new. But Portland is one of those teams that's always good. Seattle used to be, but not anymore. Austin FC is pretty good. There's some really, really good supporter stands. Now, you look at Sporting Kansas City, for example. They used to be regarded as one of the hardest places to play in the MLS. Well, here's what I have for you. In the bottom half of the league, so this is looking at like the half, if you split the league in half in terms of quality, like overall results, the bottom half of the league, these supporter stands, which are the so-called die-hard fans, have shrunk by 15% in the last 7 years. 15% is a big number, especially when you're considering the fact that these stadiums are holding 30,000 people on average. That's not good. And the atmosphere is supplemented by stadium speakers and manufactured noise. When you have to have, this is a great example for you. I used to, when I was younger, sit in the supporter stand every single game for Sporting Kansas City, my junior year of high school. Back in those days, I had to learn the dang chants because everyone was so loud. I learned it eventually. Now, if you go sitting there, you get a card when you walk into the dang supporter stand. Hey, here's all the chants, by the way. And then when it's, we're going to be on a corner kick and we want to do the little shot, everybody, say what you want about the chants.
Come on, Seattle.
If I can win. Say what you want about the chants, but you shouldn't have to show it on the big screen to tell people what they're supposed to be cheering for. That's a proof that the supporter overall ultras are gone. Well, the USL, on the other hand, has done the complete opposite. They make up a larger percentage of the total attendance. For example, like markets like New Mexico and Sacramento, they are nearly 25 to 30% of the total percentage. And in an MLS team, 10 to 15% is your supporter stance. So it just shows you clearly that the USL has more real fans than the MLS. And then you start talking about bandwagons. Inter Miami. How many of those people are ultras of Inter Miami.
No.
I want to go. This would be such an interesting experiment. Let's go to the next Inter Miami game. Now that they have their new stadium, I'd love to go.
Yeah.
If you want to go to Miami,
I'll never say no to a trip to Miami.
let's wait until I'm 21 maybe, but let's go. But I want to walk around and I want to count how many Inter Miami jerseys are being worn and what percentage of those jerseys say the word Messi on the back.
Yeah. I mean, it's the majority.
It's probably the majority. We can't say that 100%, but I can say...
No, I can definitely tell you it's the majority.
Even when I went to the freaking Sporting KC versus Inter Miami game, I will say I was proud of how many overall Sporting fans there were. I was very... Like, it was still a home crowd, which I thought was cool. But there was so many Messi jerseys.
Yeah.
People that just wanted to see Messi.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, can't blame them, but...
Can't blame them.
There's the problem. The divide between fan bases and the clubs themselves.
You live in this city,
Yeah.
and you claim you're a big enough soccer fan to want to spend some good money to go see the best player of all time play. You want to spend that money, but you don't want to care to support your own city?
Yeah.
Concerning.
Again, I'll say it again. There's a huge disconnect between the MLS franchises and the communities that they support. I think that if you look in the USL Championship and further down even more so, there's an identity there. Each club is passionate about their city, and not just like with the product they put on the field. Like, they're doing initiatives for kids, they're doing initiatives for homeless people. Vermont Green is rooted completely in like sustainable energy. That's their whole bit. And that's how they draw supporters, right? They don't only have here, come watch our fans or come watch our players. It's also here, come and support this cause. And that's what like people want. You know what I mean? They don't just want a bland league where you show up and watch, I would say, mid to slightly higher quality games with a league that is completely stagnant.
It's not authentic.
That's the word. Authentic.
That's the word. These USL teams focus their image on authenticity with their players, with their fans, and with their club. The MLS teams could care less about their authenticity. They only care about the money and the names.
And they're losing the money.
Well, not exactly, but yes.
I mean, if you're talking about the statistics you just brought up in terms of what'd you say, 15% decline?
Oh, yeah. No. They're losing the money 100% in terms of their bottom half teams, but the top half teams are making up the rest, unfortunately.
Right.
Especially when you look at ticket prices, which I should have done some more research on ticket prices, but that's just a joke in my opinion. But I want to show you the 2019 average of teams. So this was pre-Messi era versus the 2024-2025 average of total fans in attendance. And I have a couple different metrics, like a couple different teams to look at here. But the biggest caveat to all this is I took out any games that included Inter Miami. So, because that would spike everything up way too high. So you see the Chicago Fire, who play in Soldier Field, they moved in 2019 there, but they actually have increased, good for them, from 12,000 to 14,000, which is a 17% increase. DC United went from 17,000 to 18,500, 4% increase. But then you look at some of these teams that have been around, minus one team I'll mention, that have been around since the inception. You have LA Galaxy, a team that has been around since them. I'm just going to name, all of the teams I'm about to name are original MLS teams. LA Galaxy, Portland Timbers, Sporting KC, Seattle Sounders. Then you have New York Red Bulls, which I'm also going to mention. LA Galaxy, minus 7% since 2019. New York Red Bulls, minus 4%. Portland Timbers, minus 11%. Sporting KC, minus 4%. Seattle Sounders, minus 24%. Seattle used to be able to sell out their whole Lumen Field. They could sell the whole thing out for a big enough game. They don't even get to the big enough game to sell it out anymore.
Yep.
That's concerning. Why, when you say, oh, U.S. soccer is increasing at this huge value right now, they're going I mean, I agree that overall, like there's more fans of soccer. There's more people that care about it than there were 10 years ago. 100%.
Yep.
Why is the top flight league not showing that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's a question that we can't answer.
Yeah. I mean, the one thing about the MLS that is not the MLS's fault is simply the size of this country.
True.
For example, like in Europe, you have whatever. Let's say, I mean, in England, there's 92 teams in the top 4 flights, and like England as a country is like what, the size of, I don't know, like Texas.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So like it's easier to travel. Whereas in the MLS, like it's very, I would say, hard financially and just like schedule wise to be a New England Revolution Ultra and jump on a plane to LA to watch a game. That's not happening as much.
I think there is something to be said for that on one side of things, but then on the other side of things, it's the opposite. Is that you're telling me that you have all of these teams in England that are able to sell out their massive seating stadiums, like Anfield. What does it seat? Probably.
I think with the new addition, I think it's going to be up to 60.
60,000.
Yeah.
Well, the size of Liverpool, considering they're also competing with Everton
in the same city,
in the same city, is able to sell out that stadium every single time, relatively speaking.
Yeah.
Whereas you've got what you said is the United States is a lot bigger. Well, where is the fans? Because the overall population of the United States is definitely higher than the overall population of the United Kingdom.
Oh, absolutely.
Well, so if the United Kingdom has significantly more pro teams, 92, significantly more pro teams, why are they just casually able to sell out every single game? And the MLS can't even sell out half of them.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of it has to do with, the culture of the sport. Obviously, England is like, they claim to be the creators, and it's obviously the biggest sport in the country, in the region. In the U.S., it's not.
Yeah.
But again, I think that there's a lot more local identity that has to do with the English teams. It's the city that you live in, the town that you live in. That team is your team.
That's the identity.
Right. And here it's not like that at all.
But it's a shame because every other sport in the United States, it is.
Yeah. So
minus MLB, which that's a conversation.
Yeah.
I think the MLS and the MLB are going like this.
Yeah.
I think they are completely flipping right now, but
yeah.
not anymore, I guess. But whatever. But that's the weird part.
Yeah.
So the whole thing to the end of the conversation is promotion and relegation. And will the USL be able to create a top flight league that actually competes?
Yeah.
It's going to come down to money, viewers, and a whole lot more. Stadiums, and then players getting behind it too.
Yep.
Because these players want more money currently. That's one of the biggest problems in the USL right now is that the players are trying to negotiate a new bargaining agreement as the Players Association versus the USL as a whole. And they're not agreeing. They don't think they get treated properly. Well, I think that start treating those guys right, start paying them a little more money, and then actually see if this 2028 project can work. It might take a couple years.
Yeah.
But at some point, you got to start going, in my opinion, this is my theory, is that you got to start going to those markets. It's a bold move. But imagine you go to a market like Kansas City, and you market this big team that is supposed to be better than Sporting KC, and you get them to play Sporting KC in an exhibition game. That would never happen. But imagine you got them to play Sporting KC, and you see which is the better Kansas City team, and one team wins, and that team is the USL team. And then you have this identity thing, and then you go a little bit deeper into it, and now they're like, hey, we have to be on top of our game because if we don't win these games, we're going to go down and we're going to prove that we're this bad. And then they start winning. And then the news stations pick them up.
Yeah.
The biggest example for my market, Kansas City, is the NWSL team, the Kansas City Current. They came in, I don't even know, probably like right before COVID, right after COVID. Get the answer here for me.
I got you.
But they came in and played their first couple games as KC NWSL. That was their team name because they didn't have a real name.
2020, COVID.
Boom. That's what I thought. They came in as that. They played in a minor league baseball stadium, which happened to be next door to Sporting Park, which is hilarious, by the way. Like, when I mean next door, I mean like they share the same parking lot. It was hilarious. Slowly but surely, they got more and more fans. Then, the year before they built their brand new stadium, they go to the NWSL championship game. I, in the most respectful way, do not watch women's soccer like a real fan.
Yeah.
And you want to know what I did on the day they went to the championship game? I went to the freaking watch party.
Yeah.
I'd never watched a game of the Kansas City Current until they went to the championship. And then all of a sudden, I'm like, hey, this might be interesting to watch. Because they're in the championship game. I went to the watch party at Union Station, one of the biggest places, like the most well-known places in Kansas City, downtown-wise. I went to the dang watch party. They lost. Doesn't matter. But then they build this new stadium. Dude, when I tell you how many people were at that stadium, it was completely sold out the first day they played. It was on ESPN. In the middle of the day, I had soccer games at that day. I was supposed to play in a game. My coach wasn't there because he has some connections as to why he had to be at that game. But there was many people that were not at my game because they were at this massive sporting event.
Yeah.
Why can't, if it's a women's team able to basically overpower, I guarantee you more people care about the Kansas City Current than they do about Sporting Kansas City right now.
Yeah.
And then I used to go to their games all the time because I would work as a reporter for their games. Why are they able to theoretically have more people than Kansas City as a men's team?
Yeah.
That goes against every metric ever.
It
Good
does.
for them.
Proud
of them.
I have another example of that, which is I was not there, but my sister and my mom, my sister lives in Denver, and a little over a month ago, was the inaugural game of the Denver Summit, which is the new NWSL team in the league. That game was played at Mile High Stadium, Broncos Stadium. My mother and my sister went, sold out.
Yes.
71,000 seats sold out.
Yep.
So what, and this is no diss absolutely to the NWSL, but what is the MLS doing wrong to not be able to attract the exact same amount of fans or something somewhat close to their bigger stadiums?
The one thing that the MLS has done right is they marketed outside of Messi games. You have to always take out the Messi games. But the one caveat to that whole argument is the El Tráfico. Do you know the El Tráfico?
LAFC, LA Galaxy.
Yes.
Yeah.
Where did they play it last year?
Ooh, I don't know.
In the Rose Bowl.
Ooh.
Sold out the Rose Bowl, 80,000 fans. Only game, highest attended game ever in the MLS. And it was last year. Only game, though, that you even see anywhere near that.
Yeah.
That's the marketing they need. Where is that every week?
Yeah.
We need to be hearing about MLS games. Quite frankly, I know that Sporting Kansas City plays each Saturday night. I know they do. So maybe I'll be bored and turn it on. But quite frankly, I'm not paying for Apple TV right now.
No.
So I'm not going out of my way to watch.
Yep.
You need to market it to be like, this is something you want to watch. There's leagues that do that. NFL is not a fair comparison because the NFL is just as big as it is already.
Yeah.
They could put the NFL behind a paywall and nothing would happen.
Yeah.
But there's for example, like the MLB is able to make games watchable.
Yeah.
When they went to the what's that place? The Cornfield Place in Iowa.
Field of Dreams?
Yeah, Field of Dreams. When they went to the Field of Dreams, I don't care about the two teams playing in that.
Yeah, no.
But that was such a cool thing to watch that I went out of my way to tune into that game. I remember vividly watching it. It was not that long ago. Like, that's what the MLS needs to do. And if the USL is able to market their games in a big enough capacity that, hey, this is worth you watching, and it's not because of the best player on the world being on the field, that's where they'll succeed.
Absolutely.
And until the MLS does that, it won't happen.
Yeah. And I'm more intent to watch a USL game because of that. Because they can create an atmosphere, because they have real fans. I think the MLS is missing a huge amount of opportunities by not marketing games as what they are. You have to create some sort of, storyline, for example, to make a game sound big. Besides El Tráfico and
El Tráfico. Yeah.
El Clásico is cooler and better, but besides that game, a couple others maybe between the Texas teams, right? There's no huge rivalries. There's no And there's no like move from the MLS to try to create them. You know what I mean? Everything is just very bland. The teams play. One team wins. One team loses. They draw. Over.
Oh, no.
No effect.
Who cares? Because it doesn't matter. They'll be around next year.
Because guess what? My team could get a points deduction and be okay. Obviously, this hasn't happened, but imagine your team gets a point deduction. They've been terrible all season, and they're right back there. I mean, what soccer is about, football is about, in my opinion, as a fan, is passion. I think no sport can draw the same amount of passion out of people as soccer can.
We'll see it this summer in the World Cup.
Hopefully.
We will.
I mean, yes, you'll see it because guess what?
The freaking teams aren't United States.
The teams they're being supported by other people, which is great. But the U.S. has a huge problem in doing that. And I think if the USL in this 2028 project is able to get it up and running, I am way more likely to go to a USL Championship game, USL Premier, than I am to go to an MLS game.
And then when you see the USL Premier or the USL Championship, Louisville City going on an absolute tear, then they get promoted.
Yeah.
Then you're going to be like, oh my gosh, this is something I want to watch.
Yeah,
because
my team just got promoted, or my team got relegated.
Or a team, period.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, this team went on this crazy, that's a storyline. This team went on this crazy tear through their whole division, and now they're getting promoted. Let's see, are they good enough to withstand the pressure of all these other teams that are supposed to be number one? And then you see them do it, and you're like, oh my gosh, that's interesting. And then you see a team that you're like, oh, I thought they were supposed to be good. Then they suck. Well, now there's a reason to watch the bottom two teams play because we're seeing it right now in European soccer. It's that time of year where teams are getting relegated.
Yeah.
Where it's like, okay, I kind of do want to tune into the two worst teams because it's do or die for them right now.
Yeah, exactly. And that makes it's like an NFL playoff game. It has that same amount of importance. When you tune into a Prem game right now, for example, a West Ham game who are one spot above relegation, Tottenham who are in the relegation zone, right? Stadium packed because the game means something. Because if they lose the game, then they lose the money, the players, the sponsorships.
And then you look at the other way.
Yeah, that's the kind of pressure that you need to have on people to perform and to create a better experience, and the MLS doesn't have it.
And then you look at like Luton Town.
Yeah.
The opposite, but the same.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like those teams, like how in the world do me as a dude from Kansas in the United States know anything about Luton Town?
Yeah.
I should never know anything about them. But because they went on this insane run where they made it to the Premier League and did absolutely nothing, but they still did. Yeah. And that's interesting. And that makes me want to tune in. The MLS, I could care less, especially about the mid-table teams.
Yeah.
Who cares?
Yeah.
Who cares?
And I mean, the other cool thing about Luton, and it's not just Luton, but their stadium is in a town. Like, you walk out of the stadium and you're in somebody's backyard.
Literally.
Like, that's a much cooler thing. That's something you can talk about, something that people want to go and see. I'd want to go to a Luton game just to be in that environment and see what it's like. I don't want to go to
Q2 Stadium in Austin FC.
Right. Like there's nothing special about it. There's no special environment. The chants are... Actually, I haven't been to an Austin. I'm not going to trash them because I don't know. But most recently, I went to a San Diego FC game, and the only chant that they had was "Dale, dale, 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 San Diego FC." For 90 minutes. That's all I heard. And they set off a couple flares. Like, it's cool, but it's not that cool. Like,
the chance is another argument that we can't even have.
I mean, we could actually sit here for hours and I could just bash the MLS, but realistically, to kind of draw a close to our conversation, we'll ask you guys, the viewers, would you be more likely to go to a USL game, given that they are intent on creating that experience for fans? Or would you go to an MLS game, which is higher quality soccer per se, but does not have the same fan experience? What would you guys do?
That answer will not be answered.
It will not be answered
later, maybe. I don't know.
It'll be answered by Kieran Murray in the comments section.
It'll be answered in 2030.
Yeah.
When the USL Premier League exists.
When we finally get it going.
That is the final wrap up to possibly the final Flags and Whistles podcast hosted by us.
Yeah.
In the history of this podcast.
Yeah.
We thank you for everything which is not much, to be honest.
I mean, no.
Thank you to the 30 Instagram followers or whatever.
Yeah.
Maybe we have 100. I don't know.
I don't know. But just as a note, this podcast started out of necessity, technically, because I took a class where I had to create some sort of multimedia thing, and we created
continued
this podcast.
out of necessity, by the way.
Yeah, Carson then took the exact same class, and we followed through. But this has been a really fun experience.
It has. No, genuinely it has.
We appreciate however many viewers we get on the video. Carson and I do this as a passion project, aside from just getting maybe the easiest A you can get in college.
Well, don't tell Dr. Law for that, because she'll probably listen to this.
Yeah. But thank you. Carson will rebrand and continue this podcast, and it will only improve from here.
Hopefully.
And I hope to be a guest on Zoom in that room at some point.
In that room.
All right, guys. Thank you. Flags and whistles. We're out of here.
We're out.